Om Ajnanatimandasya Jnanasnasnakya Saksaranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padakamanam Shiyom Vaishnavam Sham Shiyupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sinudino Bando Tyatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamama Hari Priye Pancha Kautabhisha Kripa Sinvaivasha Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachai.
Recording in progress.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Today we will continue with chapter 15 and hear more about the effects of Krishna playing the flute to all the residents of Vrindavan, conscious and unconscious living entities. We continue with text 16 till 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Narom Cheva Narotam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Dhyamudiyayat Nastvayasya Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavatu Tamaskre Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Text 16-17. Nicha padabja dalert vacha vacha Niranjankusa vishitra lalamayi Vacha bhuva samayam kuratodam Varsma duyagatiridi venuhu Vachatitena varyam sa vilasa Vikshanarpita manubhava veha Kucha gatim gamitana vidamaha Kasmalena kavaram vashanam va. Someone can read the translation and the purport, please.
Hare Krishna. As Krishna strolls through Vraja with his lotus petal-like feet, marking the ground with the distinctive emblem of flag, thunderbolt, lotus,
Dandavat Maharaj,
and elephant gold, he relieves the distress the ground feels from the cow's hooves. As he plays with renowned flute, his body moves with the grace of an elephant. Thus, we, gopis, whom become agitated by the puppet, when Krishna playfully glances at us, stand as still as trees, unaware that our hair and garments are slackened. Purport. Here, Mother Yasoda is no longer in the company of gopis, who are confidentially describing their conjugal attraction to Sri Krishna. If it clear from the comment of Jiva Goswami that other acharyas that The statement in the chapter were made at various times and places. This is natural, since the gopis were always absorbed in thought of Sri Krishna day and night.
24 hours a day, Krishna conscious. So as Krishna strolls through Vraj with his lotus butter-like feet, marking the ground with the distinctive emblems of flag, thunderbolt, lotus and elephant goat. So these are the signs on Krishna's lotus feet. He relieves the distress of the ground feels from the cow's hooves. So the earth feels distressed by this heavy cows trampling. But she's relieved from that distress by Krishna, by his lotus feet touching the earth. As he plays a renowned flute, his body moves with the grace of an elephant. So Krishna moves very elegant. Thus, we gopis become agitated by Cupid when Krishna playfully glances at us. Stand as still as trees, unaware that our hair garments are slackening. Our mind is so absorbed in Krishna. It's Krishna's beautiful form and the sound of his flute that they forget everything else. It becomes void, gone. So if we are deeply absorbed in Krishna consciousness, we forget about this body and this material world. Of course, what the gopis described here is confidential, so it's not in the company of Mother Yasoda they will say such things. Vishwanath Chakravarti. One gopi of another group then spoke of her personal bewilderment on hearing the flute to Mother Yasoda. When Krishna with elephant gait walks around to relieve the earth of the pain of the cow's hoof, striking the ground by the touch of his feet, which resembles lotus petals, which are marked with symbols like flag and conch, we gopis whose hearts are agitated with lust through his glances, become stunned like the trees, and are not aware of our clothing on hair, which all become loose without our noticing it. Though Krishna has relieved the earth of pain, he has produced pain in us by his lotus-eyed glances. This is our misfortune. Shiva Goswami says, another devoted group holding secret rasa produced internally by pastimes is addressed. After passing the third yama of the day in talking about Krishna, when he does not arrive, some of the gopis with anxious hearts, on the pretext of picking flowers, go to look for him when it is time for the cows to return. So Krishna returns usually about 4 p.m. And then all the residents of Vrindavan are waiting for Krishna to return. Some of the gopis go up to the watchtowers to see Krishna first. So they praise seeing him in the forest at the end of the day. Overcome by emotion, they say, "Oh dear friends, enough of speaking of others becoming bewildered here about our condition." They speak this first, so they are bewildered because they only see Krishna and so attracted to him, they forget everything else. By using the word Nitya, his very own, the unusual nature of his feet is indicated. The plural, dalai, is used instead of the dual out of great respect or to express an uncommon beauty of each footprint. So the gopis, they worship these footprints. Nobody will step on this footprint in Vrindavan. Those feet have beautiful, astonishing marks of the flag, thunderbolt, lotus, and goat. All the feet are beautiful and astonishing with the marks of the flag, thunderbolt, lotus, and goat. These marks also stand for the other famous marks like the chakra and the less famous marks like the octagon. There is an octagon also on his feet. With those feet he relieved the land of Vraj of the pain caused by the hoofs of the cows, since he urged the cows there because of the grass. When the Lord follows the cows, his feet naturally touch the earth, and the earth then sprouts new grass and shoots immediately, where his feet has touched. Yeah. Pasturing the unlimited cows is a daily occurrence. He moves slowly with the grace of an elephant, since he is playing his flute. If he moved quickly, he could not play the flute. Though he naturally moves in this manner, they mention this because of its special beauty at this time. It is especially attractive to us. He wanders here and there. The gopis' mind becomes agitated by his playful glance, which enter within them. They express their confused states. They become stunned, motionless like trees. This shows his power to bewilder, and their gopis' pitiful condition. They do not know that their dress and hair have become undone. And we go to text 18:19. Can read the translation and the purport.
Now Krishna is standing somewhere counting his cows on a string of gems. He wears a garland of tulsi flowers that bear the fragrance of his beloved, and he has thrown his arm over the shoulder of an affectionate cowherd boyfriend. As Krishna plays his flute and sings, the music attracts the black deer's wives, who approach that ocean of transcendental qualities and sit down beside him. Just like us, cowherd girls, they have given up all hope for happiness in family life.
The purport.
Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that in the afternoon, Sri Krishna dressed himself in new clothing and then went out to call the cows home. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti gives the following information about the transcendental cows of Vrindavan. For each of the four colors of cows, white, red, black and yellow, there are 25 subdivisions, making a total of 100 colors, and such qualities as been colored like sandalwood, pulp, tilak, speckled, or having a head shaped like a mridang drum create 8 further groups. To count these 108 groups of cows distinguished by color and form, Krishna is using a string of 108 jewel beads. Thus, when Krishna calls out, "Hey, Dhavli," the name of a white cow, a whole group of white cows come forward. And when he calls Hamsi, Chandni, Ganga, Mukta, and so on, the 24 other groups of white cows come. The reddish cows are called Aruni, Kunkuma, Saraswati, etc. The blackish ones, Shyamla, Dhomla, Yamuna, etc. And the yellowish ones, Pita, Pingala, Haritalika, etc. Those in the group with tilak marks on their foreheads are called Chitrita, Chitratilka, Dirgha Tilka, and Tirayak Tilaka. And there are groups known as Mridanga Mukhi, Mridanga Head, Simha Mukhi, Lion Head, and so on. Thus being called by name, the cows are coming forward, and Krishna, thinking that when it is time to bring them back from the forest, none should be forgotten, is counting them on his jewel beads. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna does not call out the name of all the cows, but of groups of cows. And these groups are recognized because they have different colors of their head has a certain at the shape of Mridanga, or they have like some tilak on their forehead, some white or black tilak, who knows. And he called them by names, and they come forward by groups, because there are thousands and thousands of cows. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains the same here, because this is the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here mostly, and also of Shiva Goswami, and Shiva Goswami same, Sanatana Goswami also. Good, then we are going to the next two verses, 20-21. So can someone read the translation in purple?
Oh,
sinless. Go ahead, Mataji.
Okay. O sinless Yashoda, your darling child, the son of Maharaj Nanda, has festively enhanced his attire with a jasmine garland, and he is now playing along the Yamuna in the company of the cows and cowherd boys, amusing his dear companions. The gentle breeze honors him with his soothing fragrance of sandalwood, while the various Upadevas, standing on all sides like panegyrists, offer their music, singing, and gifts of tribute. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that the gopis are again in the courtyard of Mother Yashoda, the queen of Braja. They are trying to encourage her by describing Krishna's return to Vrindavana after he has spent the day herding cows and playing.
Mm-hmm. So they are encouraging Mother Yasoda by speaking of Krishna's pastimes, how he has spent his day herding the cows. That, he has a festively enhanced his attire with jasmine garlands. In my youth, in the house of my parents, we had a jasmine tree who produced jasmine flowers. It's very nice fragrance that the gentle breeze honors him with his shooting fragrance of sandalwood, another fragrance. And the devas, they are singing music and gifts of tribute. They are glorifying Krishna. It's a whole festival. This is a spiritual world, a festival. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that the Upadevas, the minor demigods mentioned here, include the Gandharvas, who are famous for their celestial dancing. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. When the gopis who had assembled at Yasoda's house saw that she was disturbed because Krishna was late in coming, they pacified her by giving reasons for his lateness. So Krishna will come. Krishna is come, he has on the way, he has been held up by the demigods who worshipped him. In this way, they were talking to Mother Yasoda. So, to relieve himself of fatigue, Krishna has bathed in the Yamuna and then sat on the bank. In order to please his friends who were so enthusiastic, he dressed himself comically with kunda flower garlands. Kunda flower. As he walked on the bank of the river, the wind began to blow gently and pleasantly. Krishna gave joy to his friends by giving and receiving jokes and defeating their jests. O sinless one, you have not committed any sins previously or in this life, by which danger could come to your son. So why do you uselessly worry about danger for demons, if his is a little late? He is the son of Nanda, who is famous as the jewel of piety, and is the son, Vatsa, objection of affection, of you, endowed with the most spotless fame. We see that children fall into danger only when parents have bad karma. So they say nothing will have happened to Krishna because he's protected by your good karma, they will say. So therefore there is no danger for your son. Listen as we tell you the reason for his being late, as we have heard from his friends. His friends, who are his friends? The wind, so fragrant and cool from touching the sandalwood trees of the Malaya mountain, that it only blows very slowly, began to blow pleasantly on your son. The Upadevatas, the Gandharvas, began to worship him in all ways, including playing musical instruments as they praised his qualities. To accept his worship, he has become late. Those of quality delight is seeing the person of quality. Therefore, there is no need to worry for your son, for if they are worshipping him, it is your good fortune. So Sanatana Goswami writes, he's playing the water on the bank of the Yamuna because he jokes with his friends filled with affection. These are the causes of his delay in entering Vraj. Text 22-23. So, can someone read the translation and the purport of 23?
Out of great affection for the cows of Braja, Krishna became the lifter of Govardhan hill. At the end of the day, having rounded up all his own cows, he plays a song on his flute, which exalted demigods standing along the path worship his lotus feet. And the cowboys accompanying him chant his glories. His garland is powdered by the dust raised by the cow's hooves, and his beauty, enhanced by his fatigue, creates an ecstatic festive for everyone's eyes. Eager to fulfill his friend's desires, Krishna is the moon risen from the womb of Mother Yashoda. Purport. According to the Acharyas, at this point, the gopis climbed into the watchtowers of Vrindavan's houses, so they could see Krishna as soon as possible when he returned home. Mother Yashoda was very anxious for her son to come back, and therefore she had the tallest of the beautiful young gopis climb up to see when he would arrive. It is implied here that Krishna was somewhat delayed on the way home because his lotus feet were being worshipped by great demigods along the path.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Vishwanath, seeing that my son has not come back at the end of twilight, I will now kill myself, Mother Yasoda said. Yeah. Fearing this response from Mother Yasoda, the gopis then gave reasons why Krishna would come quickly in order to calm her. One cannot say that for a cowherd boy the skillful singing of the lowly Gandharvas is more attractive than giving grass to the cows or seeing, tickling or touching their bodies. So, different perception, the cowherd boys. Thus the gopis give reasons for his lateness. Brahma, Shiva and others are now offering their respect along the path, the devatas coming from their houses and situating themselves close in the sky. Watch Krishna all day in bliss. When Krishna returns in the evening, they also return to their houses, but not before descending from the sky to earth to offer their respects to his lotus feet to obtain his mercy. What can I do in this circumstance? This request from the devotees is a greater cause of his lateness. But do you not see the fortune in the devotas offering their respects to your son's feet? Why do you lament? Yasoda, with choked voice, said, "Oh, young women, please go quickly to the roof and see how far my son is distant." Going to the roof, the gopis then spoke to her in loud voices, stopping all the cows in one place with the sound of his flute to fulfill the desires of well-wishers. Krishna is now coming. He is brilliant in his fatigue, a festival for the eyes, with garlands covered by dust raised by the cows' hooves. So, this is mostly repetition. So many comments, too much to go through. Text 24-25. Next to it, please.
As Krishna respectfully greets his well-wishing friends, his eyes roll slightly as if from intoxication. He wears flower garland, and the beauty of his soft cheeks is accentuated by the brilliance of his golden earrings and the whiteness of his face, which has the color of a bandara berry. With his cheerful face resembling the moon, lord of the night, the lord of the Yadus moves with the grace of a regal elephant. Thus he returns in the evening, delivering the cows of Raj from the heat of the day. Purport. The word Gavam is constructed from the Sanskrit word go, which means cow or senses. Thus Sri Krishna, by coming back to the village of Raj, relieved the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the distress of their eyes and other senses felt during the day because of being separated from direct contact with him.
Thank you. So, Krishna is arriving. Though he has arrived at the edge of the town, here why slightly delayed. His eyes are mad, rolling out due to the bliss from seeing his father and mother and loved ones, or due to love generated from seeing the gopis. The first meeting is for those in Vatsalya Ras, and the second meeting is for those in Madhurya Ras. This will be understood later. He is giving some acknowledgement of respect by nodding his head, since though a prince, he was still young and not obliged to strictly follow the etiquette according to the scriptural rules. He gives respect to those dear ones, offering blessings, the priests, elders, brothers, servants, and tambula makers. This is the reason for his delay. Svasurdam. So this is not all the reason of his delay. He was offering respect to the elderly, to the priests, the brothers, servants. That Svasurdam also indicates his beloved gopis. Krishna gives respect to those gopis worshipping him with smiling blue lotus glances from the rooftops, by his own glances unseen by others, signifying that he would fulfill their desires. His face was slightly flushed like a ripe badari fruit due to thirst, hunger and fatigue from wandering in the forest. Or his face was flushed due to experiencing prolonged separation from his dear gopis. His tender cheeks were decorated with the glint from his gold earrings. Krishna is addressed as the Lord of the Yadus, which here means Lord of the Gopas. He walked slowly like the king of the elephants, with happy face. He approached nearer, cooling the eyes of the inhabitants of Vraj, which has become hot due to separation during the day. So everyone was relieved of seeing Krishna again. Yes. Now, text 26. Can someone read translation and purport?
Hare Krishna. Sri Shukdev Goswami said, O king, thus during the daytime, the women of Vrindavan took pleasure in continuously singing about the pastimes of Krishna. And those ladies' minds and hearts, absorbed in him, were filled with great festivity. Purport. This verse definitely confirms that the so-called pain of the heartbroken gopis is actually great spiritual bliss. On the material platform, pain is pain, period. But on the spiritual platform, so-called pain is simply a different variety of spiritual ecstasy. In the Western countries, people take pleasure in mixing different flavors of ice cream to produce wonderful combinations of flavor. Similarly, on the spiritual platform, Sri Krishna and his devotees expertly mix the flavors of spiritual bliss, and thus every day was a treat for the gopis.
Yes. So pain is, on the spiritual platform, is a spiritual emotion of ecstasy. So this pain of a separation of the gopis is that increases their feelings of separation, increases their attachment to Krishna, increases their ecstasy. And in that separation they feel more ecstasy. And Lord Chaitanya was in that mood of feeling ecstasy of himself, of Krishna, because he was in the mood of Radharani. Vishwanath Chakravarti. O Parikshit, the gopis' mind had concentrated on Krishna, and Krishna's mind was centered on them. Because Krishna and his beloved gopis were mutually Visaya and Ashraya, they concentrated their minds on each other. Thus, because they continually relished each other and every moment, both in separation and meeting through their minds, it is said in this verse that they enjoyed the separation during the day, enjoying the pain of separation during the day. Prema is two states, union and separation. Though the person absorbed in Krishna appears to suffering in separation, actually has attained highest state of bliss internally. In this way, the highest degree of prema is manifest. So if one thinks of Krishna, one associates with Krishna. And in separation, their thinking of Krishna became so deep. And it was the greatest bliss. So that thinking of Krishna is also a kind of union. Because Krishna is in your heart. And you think of him in your heart. So, at the end here, Sanatana Goswami, they passed the day in singing constantly. In the night they became happy by directly seeing him. By singing this way, they became happy with directly seeing him. So there are 3 verses for each pair, describing morning, morning, noon, and afternoon pastimes in these verses. We heard that at the end, afternoon pastime, when Krishna is coming back from herding the cows. One pair of verses directed to Yasoda, one pair of verses describe their own position that we have heard, that where they speak about their own experience of remembering Krishna. At the very end, there is one pair verse expressing joy of his coming back. So the song is just 12 pairs. And that is the end of this chapter. We have heard in the chapter the different effects of Krishna playing his flute. The effect of the rivers, they became stunned. They stopped flowing. The cows and the calves, they stopped eating, and they cocked up their ears to hear Krishna. The birds were like in meditation on Krishna. The trees offered their fruits. That the deer sat down before Krishna. This is beautiful. At the end, we heard about the deep Krishna consciousness of the residents of Vrindavan, especially the gopis, Mother Yasoda, that when Krishna came back from the herding of the cows, it gives us an insight in the consciousness of the Vrajavasis, and the idea is that we cultivate this consciousness. Srila Prabhupada went to America, but he remained internally rooted in Vrindavan, in that consciousness. That he did not accept the American lifestyle. He lived us in Vrindavan. So that is also our mission, individual mission of each of us, to come to that stage to be internally rooted in Vrindavan every moment. Good. Any comments?
Very wonderful, Maharaj. Very nice to read these pastimes together.
Mm-hmm.
We hear, we talk about Krishna's teachings differently most of the times, but here we're directly talking about Krishna, about the Krishna, not his energies, but himself. How beautiful he is and how his interaction with his various devotees are. It's very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Maharaj, who are the household Vaishnavas?
Household?
Vaishnavas.
What do you mean?
We have question in our question bank.
Yeah.
Who are described as householder Vaishnavas in VCT commentary on text 10 and 11?
Yeah, I don't know. It's somewhere in the verse of the purport, probably. But I don't know. No. Someone has the answer. Someone has the answer. I suppose you all looked at the, at the question bank. Anyway, I cannot answer your question. I don't know where it refers to. Maybe it's mentioned somewhere.
Okay. Yes, Maharaj, it is mentioned here.
Yeah, and
in
where?
the purport.
In which purport?
In verse 11.
Verse 11.
Yeah, in the first 4-5 sentences, it's mentioned
Let's
about
see.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur giving an analogy that just as when householder Vaishnavas hear a Sankirtan party approaching, they become ecstatic and obeisances. So the trees and creepers in Vrindavan became ecstatic when they heard Krishna's flute and bowed loud this portion.
So text 11, huh? Yeah, Krishna moves about the forest in the company of his friends, who vividly chant the glories of his magnificent deeds. He thus appears just like the Supreme Personality of Godhead exhibiting his inexhaustible opulences. When the cows wander on the mountain sides and Krishna calls out to them with the sound of his flute, the trees and creepers in the forest respond by becoming so luxuriant with fruits and flowers that they seem to be manifesting Lord Vishnu within their hearts. It's this 11, huh? Because this is 8 to 11, yeah. So it should be at the end. Maddened by the divine honey-like aroma of the tulsi flowers on that garland, Krishna wears swarms of the bees. Bees sing loudly for him, and that most beautiful of all persons thankfully acknowledges and acclaims their song by taking his flute to his lips and playing it. The charming flute song then steals away the mind of the cranes, swans and other like lake-dwelling birds. Indeed, they approach Krishna close to their eyes and maintaining strict silence, worshipping him by fixing their consciousness upon him in deep meditation. I don't see anything of householders in verse 11.
You have to see in the purport, Maharaj.
In the purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has made several illuminating comments on these verses. He gives the analogy that just as when householder Vaishnavas hear, householder Vaishnavas hear a Sankirtan party approaching, they become ecstatic and offer obeisances. So the trees and creepers in Vrindavan became ecstatic when they heard the Krishna's flute and bowed low with their branches and vines. So that is a comparison that Krishna walks to the forest and all the trees and so on, the plants, they become enlivened, ecstatic. Like that if householders absorbed in household life and they see a Sankirtan party coming chanting the holy names of Krishna, they become very ecstatic, very happy to see them. That is a comparison that is made there. That could be found it, but this is best you. The idea of the bank of questions, question bank, is that you read the purports nicely and the verses and find your own answers. So it's in the purport. So that's your duty. It's not my duty to give you the answers. And then we go beyond the purpose. Anything else? I hope you have relished the sweetness of this pastime. This is not about jnana, about rasa, about becoming absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Just by hearing it, if we deeply absorb in the hearing, it's like we are there. We are with the Vrajavasis, Krishna coming back from the herding the cows. And we feel something about their love just by hearing. So that's important for us, that changes our heart. We have heard a lot of jnana, and so the Bhaktivedanta course is not just about knowledge, it's about changing your heart by hearing the sweet pastimes and becoming deeply absorbed in it, like the cows, like the Yamuna, that they all become absorbed, that even the cows become absorbed in Krishna and become ecstatic when they hear their names. Because that is what we are. We are servants of Krishna, and we are meant to experience this ecstasy. Good. That we are at the end of this chapter. We will start the next chapter, but we will have a pause now. It's 6:19.
Recording stopped.
We pause 10 minutes. 6:30. We will start the slaying of Arista, the bull demon. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We will resume.
Recording in progress.
The slaying of Arista, the bull demon. So I will start with reading the chapter summary. It is interesting. Many times we go to Govardhan and visit Radhakund, Shyamakund. But where do we find the history of Radhakund and Shyamakund in the Bhagavatam? It is not directly in the Bhagavatam, but is related to this pastime. And we will find the references of the history of Radhakund, Shyamakund in the purports of our acharyas. So that's included in this chapter. 40 verses. This chapter describes how Krishna killing Aristasur and how Kamsa reacted when he learned from Narada that Krishna and Balaram were the sons of Vasudeva. So the demon Arista wanted to kill Krishna and Balaram, and thus he assumed the form of a huge bull with sharp horns. Everyone in Krishna's coward village became terrified when Aristasur approached it, but the Lord pacified them, and when the bull demon charged him, he seized him by the horns and threw him about 60 yards. Though weakened, Arista still wanted to attack Krishna. Thus, dripping with sweat, he charged the Lord once again. This time Krishna grabbed his horns, threw him to the ground and thrashed him like a pile of wet clothing. The demon vomited blood and gave up his life, Then Krishna and Rama, while being honored by the demigods and cowherd boys, returned to the village. A short time later, Narada Muni, the great sage among the demigods, came to see King Kamsa. He informed the king that Krishna and Balaram were not Nanda's sons, but rather Vasudev's. It was out of fear of Kamsa that Vasudeva had put the two boys under Nanda's care. Furthermore, said Narada, Kamsa would meet his death at their hands. Kamsa shook with fear and anger when he heard all this, and in great agitation he began thinking of how to destroy Krishna and Balaram. He called for the demons Shanura and Mustika and instructed them to kill the two brothers in a wrestling match. Then he spoke to Akrura, who was expert at executing his duties. Taking Akrura by the hand, Kamsa persuaded him to go to Vraj to bring the two boys to Mathura. Akrura agreed to carry out Kamsa's order and returned home. So that is the chapter. The first part is about Aristasur. The second part, Narada Muni informing Kamsa, Kamsa making plans to kill Krishna and Balaram, and sending Akrura. So text 1. Shri Badarayanir Uvacha Atatari Arato Goshtam Aristo Frishabasura Mahim Maha Kalkut Bakaya Kampayam Kura Vikshatam. So next one to read, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Shukadeva Goswami said, the demon Arishta then came to the cowherd village. Appearing in the form of a bull with a large hump, he made the earth tremble as he tore it apart with his hoofs. Purport. According to Sri Vishnu Purana, Arishtasura entered Krishna's village at twilight as the Lord prepared to dance with the gopis. Pradoshathe kadachit tu prasa sakte janardane trasayan samadogostam arishtah sampagataha. Once, midway through the period of dusk, when Lord Janardana was eager to perform the rasa dance, Arishtasura madly entered the cowherd village, terrifying everyone.
Okay, that's the introduction. Vishwanath Chakravarti. The 36th chapter describes how Kamsa, hearing from Narada that Krishna had killed Aristasur, imprisoned Devaki and Vasudeva and ordered Akrura to go to Vraj. As star is used in this sentence, Yada should also be supplied. So the meaning is that when Yada Krishna began his Rasa Lila in the evening, then Aristasur came. The Vishnu Purana describes this. One day, when Krishna was enjoying the Rasa dance in the twilight, Aristasur entered the village after spreading fear everywhere. Atta signifies that while Krishna was enjoying, something interrupted that enjoyment. Arista had the form of a bull with a large lump on his back. Stamping his hoofs, he shook the earth, so everyone was afraid of him. There is also a reference to these pastimes from the Vishnu Purana. Jiva Goswami states that in his commentary. So once midday, through the period of dusk, when Krishna was eager to perform the rasa dance, Aristasur madly entered the cowherd village, terrifying everyone. It's also not only in the Vishnu Purana, but also in the Harivamsa. Every day the gopis passed the daylight hours in singing his pastimes. At the end of one evening, after finishing his dinner, he left his bedroom to go for the rasa dance and went beyond the village of Vraj. So it was twilight, Krishna was going to start the rasa dance with the gopis. Sanatana Goswami. With obedient heart I offer respect to the great devotees who are overjoyed with prema from just a relationship with a speck of dust of Krishna's lotus feet. And then he gives the same commentaries as Jiva Goswami, which we read. So now we got text 2. Can someone read the translation of text 2?
Aristasur bellowed very harshly and pawed the ground. With his tail raised and his eyes glaring, he began to tear up the embankments with the tips of his horns, every now and then passing a little stool and urine.
Vishwanath, roaring very loudly and roughly, he clawed the earth with his hoofs. He dug out the bank with his horns and passed stool. Jiva Goswami, he made furrows in the earth with his hoofs as he tore up the soil because of his crazed condition and desire to fight. He was really waiting for the fight. So translation of text. This is text 3 and 4. Can someone read, please?
My dear king, clouds hovered about sharp-horned Aristasur's hump, mistaking it for a mountain. And when coward men and ladies caught sight of the demon, they were struck with terror. Indeed, the strident reverberation of his roar so frightened the pregnant cows and women that they lost their fetuses in miscarriages. Purport. The Vedic literature categorizes miscarriages as follows. Chaturdhat bhavet sravaha patah panchama shashthayoh ata urdhvam prashuti syat. Up to the 4th month, a premature delivery is called srava. In the 5th and 6th months, it's called pata. And after that, it's considered as birth, prashuti.
Okay. Yeah. Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur says the same. It's probably from his purport. And yeah. Jiva Goswami. The great fear caused by the demon is described. His roaring seemed to crush flesh. Sukadev calls out to Parikshit with fear. Sma indicates that it was well known, and Vai means certainly. The word Maha mentioned previously indicates his size. He had a huge hump upon which the cloud, mistaking it for a mountain, rested. This is a metaphor since the cloud is unconscious. His hump and the mountain were both high, reaching the clouds. What to speak of the women who are easily frightened by nature? The men were also terrified. He had the complexion of a cloud and sharp horns and eyes blazing from the sun. He repeatedly licked his lips with sand. He twirled his tail in pride. His shoulders were tough and his hump was huge and impossible to pass over. His body was smeared with urine and stool. He caused panic in the cows. Skin hung from his throat. His face was scarred by being hit by the trees. He always wandered in the forest to attack the sages during austerities. The people had to look upwards to see him. Since he was huge, the animals were frightened because of his evil nature. The demon, named Arista, killer of bulls and enemy of the cows, with frightful form and with huge horns for fighting, ran around Gokul. He made the cows abort and become barren. He wandered through the village, breaking everything. With anger he attacked the cows with his horns. He was not satisfied, since he could not fight, so the demon had come to Vraj up to this time, because Kamsa had not permitted him. Okay. Good. Text 5.
The domestic animals fled the pasture in fear. O king, and all the inhabitants rushed to the Lord Govind for shelter, crying, Krishna, Krishna.
So it's a different mood on the previous pastime. A lot of fear here in the beginning. Shiv Goswami. The animals left Vraj, though they should not have done so in the evening, out of great fear. They were pursued by the demon as they fled. Sukadev calls out to Parikshit in astonishment at what happened, or from fear. They called out to Krishna, who was called Govinda because he had been enthroned as a king of Gokul with the name. So who throned in was King Indra, Purandar. Thus they took shelter of him. They approached him as he was coming from Govardhan, where there was a place for the rasa dance, because he heard the commotion. They shouted only his name, since they could not say anything out of fear. This was how they all acted. So text 6.
When the Supreme Lord saw the coward community in distraught and fleeing in fear, he calmed them, saying, Don't be afraid. Then he called out to the bull demon as follows.
So Krishna called everyone, don't be afraid, he said. And now we will speak to the demon. So Govinda, however, acted differently. Another version has Atta instead of Api. Seeing all beings in Gokul whom he should protect, he spoke to the demon. He knew that the bull was a demon. He called the demon towards him, going far from Vraj, so that he would not cause disturbance in Vraj. Later it will be said that Krishna entered Vraj after killing the demon. Text 7.
You fool, what do you think you are doing? You wicked rascal, frightening the cowherd community and their animals, when I am here just to punish corrupt miscreants like you. Hare Krishna.
Vishwanath. What do you gain by frightening the cows? Addressing the demon as most sinful, a sinful one. Krishna suggests that no sin would be incurred by killing the bull, though normally cows and bulls should not be killed. Yeah. So, text 8 and the one line purport.
Having spoken these words, the infallible Lord Hari slapped his arms with his palms, further angering Arishta with a loud sound. The Lord then casually threw his mighty serpentine arm over the shoulder of a friend and stood facing the demon. Purport: Lord Krishna showed his contempt for the ignorant demon.
He's staying there on putting his arm on the shoulder of a coward boy, and he stood facing the demon, smiling. Krishna challenged the bull by slapping his right palm on the base of his left arm, making a sound as a show of courage. By placing a snake-like arm on Subal's shoulder, he showed his contempt for the demon. Subal, it's Subal. So, Krishna put his arm on the shoulder of his friend Sridham. Oh, that's another one. Showing disrespect to the demon. His arm was like a snake because of its roundness and thickness. Krishna is called Achyuta since he did not move from that spot. Harivamsa says, Tasmasta namna vyachala Krishna gerir ivachala. Krishna did not move from the spot, being as immovable as a mountain. Vishnu Purana says, na chachal tata stanat avahya smita lilaya. He did not move from the spot and smiled with disrespect in a casual manner. In this situation, Krishna was very attracted. Harihi. Yeah, text 9.
Thus Arishta pawed the ground with one of his hooves, and then, with the clouds hovering around his upraised tail, furiously charged Krishna.
Arishta showed his power by raising and twitching his tail so that it disturbed the clouds in the sky. Shiva Goswami, his upraised tail made the clouds disperse by its touch or by its wind. The demon quickly rushed towards Krishna. Sanatana Goswami. Arishta was the very form of inauspiciousness, Aristaha, whom no one could oppose. With his upraised tail, he made the clouds move here and there by touching them or by the tail's wind. The tail was hard, long and strong. He ran at Krishna, who attracted him by inciting his anger. Or Krishna attracted him by striking his heel on the ground to show his great courage and pride. This produced Aristakund. It is said, he struck Arista in the form of a bull. Then in anger, he struck the earth with his heel. This produced the Tirtha. Ari Varaha Purana, it said. The demon approached Krishna with great speed. Text 10.
It is said, Maharaj, that the Arista Kund, Shyama Kund in Braja is actually known as the Arista Kund. Shyama Kund right next to Radha Kund?
I don't know. That interesting that it should be somewhere in Braj, right? You say Shyamala Kund or Shyama Kund?
Shyam Kund, next to Radha Kund.
Yeah. As Shyam Kund was made by Krishna with his heel, no, not by Aristasur. But anyway, there can be a connection, I don't know.
Yeah.
Translation of text 10.
Sorry, Maharaj. Can I read?
Yeah, please.
Pointing the tips of his horns straight ahead and glaring menacingly at Lord Krishna from the corners of his bloodshot eyes, Arista rushed towards him at full speed, like a thunderbolt hurled by Indra.
Thunderbolt hurled by Indra. Okay, that's very fast. Vishwanath. The bull's eyes were red with arrogance. His sidelong glances scolded Krishna. Shiva Goswami. This verse describes the demon's attack. Instead of kataka aksipya, the phrase is kata aksipya. This is similar to the verb kuta, to be cooked, as described in Gankuta Jibyo Panini 121. The demon threw a side glance in advancing quickly and not tolerating others. An example is given. He was like a thunderbolt thrown with the force by Indra, and there he comes. Text 11. Next one.
The Supreme Lord Krishna seized Aristasura by the horns and threw him back 18 steps, just as an elephant might do when fighting a rival elephant.
And threw him back 18 steps. That's the first action of Krishna. 18 steps. A comment from Ajahn Prabhu from the Vedabase. Aritgram is also called Aristagram. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that in the village Aristasura had been killed by Sri Krishna, while there he inquired about Radhakund, but no one could tell him where it was. That's interesting. That Aritgram is also called Aristagram. So it's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's so 18 steps. Vishwanath says, Krishna threw the bull in opposite direction. Shiva Goswami. Why means it is well known. He had a very sporting nature, Saha. An example is given to show this. An elephant fighting another elephant. It shows his capability with a display of his power. Text 12. Yep, next one to read.
Thus repulsed by the Supreme Lord, the bull demon got up and breathing hard and sweating all over his body, again charged him in a mindless rage.
So, that will is last time he will charge us at Krishna, because Krishna will finish him now. Being thrown back, the bull then got up. The demon quickly got up. Another version has Satvara's son. In anger, he forgot himself. All his limbs were exhausted because of fatigue or anger. Another version has Svina perspiring. Verse 13. Who reads next one? That's the final.
As Arishta attacked, Lord Krishna seized him by the horns and knocked him to the ground with his foot. The Lord then thrashed him as if he were a wet cloth. And finally, he yanked out one of the demon's horns and struck him with it until he lay prostrate.
Until he lay prostrate, yeah. Vishwanath, grasping his two horns in his hand, Krishna twisted him around like a piece of wet cloth. Uprooting his left horn, Krishna dealt him a blow with that horn. Shiva Goswami. Two verses describe with joy the killing of the demon. Kritva means he uprooted his horn. Vishnu Purana describes his Upatya Shrinyamekam Sa Tena Vata Dayatata. He uprooted one horn and beat the demon with it. Harivamsa says Shringyam Sasya Punashvayam Utpatya Yamadandavattaneva Prahara Vaktram Sammamara Vishohata. He uprooted his left horn and beat his head with it as if it were Yamaraj's staff, and the beaten bull then died. Apatat means he died. Finished. Now what happens after that? So I read the translation. 14.
Vomiting blood, and profusely excreting stool and urine, kicking his legs and rolling his eyes about, Aristasura thus went painfully to the abode of death. The demigods honored Lord Krishna by scattering flowers upon him.
Hare Krishna. Vishwanath. The bull was put into great difficulty, Kasta. Yama then killed the bull, not Krishna. The bull got immediately liberation. The devatas praised Krishna by showering flowers. Pushpayantaha. His death is described. He actually bled and released urine and stool bit by bit in the fighting. This further describes that condition. Sukadev speaks in anger in saying that the demon went to the abode of Yama. However, actually he attained liberation as described in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.34, or that the statement can mean on dying he went to the abode of the Lord. After his death, the devatas praised him. They could not do this immediately because they were afraid. That text 15. Someone read having thus killed. Yeah.
Having thus killed the bull demon Arista, he who is a festival for the gopis' eyes entered the cowherd village with Balaram.
Hare Krishna. You can read the purport also.
This verse exemplifies the sublime contrast of spiritual qualities within Sri Krishna. In one 4-line verse, we simultaneously learn that Lord Krishna killed a powerful and wicked demon, and that his boyish beauty gave festive pleasure to his young girlfriends. Lord Krishna is as hard as a thunderbolt or as soft as a rose, depending on our attitude toward him. The demon Arishta wanted to kill Krishna and all his friends, so the Lord beat him into a wet rag and killed him. The gopis, however, loved Krishna, and thus the Lord boyishly reciprocated their conjugal feelings.
Thank you. Vishwanath. The Puranas describe how Radha-Kund and Syama-Kund appeared after the killing of Aristasura as a result of a conversation between Radha and Krishna. So the Puranas, which Puranas we will hear. So this is the conversation. So this is probably Radharani who says, a sinful killer of a bull, do not touch me today. Krishna replies, a foolish woman, this is not a bull, but a terrible demon. Radha replies, O Krishna, that may be true, but he belongs to the species of cattle, just as Vritasur, though a demon, was still a Brahman. O Radha, Krishna replies, what is the acquittal for this act? Radharani says, you will become pure by performing the austerity of bathing in all the holy waters of the 3 worlds. Krishna, how will I go around the 3 worlds? I will bring all the holy places here and bathe in them. Just watch now. Saying this, Mukunda stamped on the earth with his heel and made a hole. So that's Shyamakund, and said, come here. All the holy waters came there along from Ganga, situated in Patal, with their presiding deities. Krishna said to the gopis, behold all the holy waters. But they did not believe his word. The presiding deities, folding their hands, came forward and introduced themselves. I am the Salt Ocean, I am the Milk Ocean, I am the Svarghadihi, I am the Red Ocean, I am the Tamraparni, I am Pushkar, I am the Saraswati, I am Godavari, I am the Ammonia, I am Sarayu, I am Prayag, I am Reva. See all these waters and believe me. Bathing in the waters, Krishna became clean. I have made a lake in which all tirthas reside. Now, none of you have performed such pious work. Hearing this, Radha said to her friends, we must also make an attractive kund. You should construct one with great care. West of Krishna's kund, where Arista had made a hole with his foot, the gopis began to take earth in their hands and in 2.5 hours, west of Krishna's kund, where Arista made a hole in his foot. So that's true. That's what he said before. It's on the same place where Arista made a hole with his foot. The gopis began to take earth in their hands, and in 2.5 hours they made a beautiful kund, that's Radha kund. Seeing their kund, Krishna began to think of having rasa. O lotus-eyed Radha, please come take some of the holy waters of my kund and fill up your kund. Hearing this, Radha said, No, that water is no good, coming from one who has sinfully killed the bull. I will fill up this kund with 1,000 pots of water from the Manasa Ganga. By this, my fame will be spread throughout the universe. Taking the cue from Krishna, all the holy waters of his kund, taking on one transcendental form, approached Krishna, offering obeisances, and with folded hands and tears in her eyes, began to offer praises. O Goddess, those who know the scriptures do not know your glories. Brahma does not know, nor Shiva nor Lakshmi, only Krishna, best of man, who wipes the perspiration from your limbs, feet, knows. Just getting the glance from your lotus eye, we will think ourselves super blithe, fortunate, and will reach the highest bliss. We will reside in this place made by Krishna's heel. On his order we have come here. If you are pleased, give your merciful glance. Then our desire will be able to bear fruit. Being satisfied with the praise of the Tirthas, Radha said, No, that your desire had been fulfilled. The Tirthas clearly stated her desire. Our lives will be successful if we can enter your kund. This is the boon we pray for. Then Radha, glancing at Krishna, said, Come. Hearing this, the same-minded gopis became submerged in ecstasy. All moving and non-moving creatures became enlivened. Having attained the mercy of Radha, all the Tirthas broke their banks and swiftly flowed into Radha's kund, filling it up. Krishna said, O most beloved, may your kund become more famous in the world than mine. In your kund I will perform water pastimes. I will bathe there daily, as you are the most dear to me. So is your kund. Radha said, along with my friends I will also bathe in Radha kund. May the kund destroy 100 misfortunes. I will be most pleased with that person who shows devotion to this kund, who bathes in it, and who resides near it. The lightning form of Radha, whose glory is spread throughout the 3 worlds, who causes a shower of blissful rasa from the cloud of Krishna, performs rasa lila at Radha Kund nightly. So that's the whole pastime of Radha Kund. And Shiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami repeat this again, that we find that also here, but I highlighted a few things. So out of affection for his younger brother to see the demon being killed, Krishna was by his nature a joy for the eyes. But now having arrived at, after killing the great enemy, he was especially a joy for the eyes. Harivamsa says, having killed the bull lotus-eyed, Krishna again enjoyed in the moonlight. Adivara Purana. Note of the Manasa Gangi, the Lord marked with chakras on his feet, endowed with all powers and sweetness, fought a fierce battle with Arista, killing the demon with the body of a bull at that place in anger. Krishna produced the great tirtha by striking the ground with his heel. And here we have the same story as we had before in the previous pastime. Yes, yeah. Now, what happened after? That can someone read the next text? 16.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
After Arastasur had been killed by Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Narada Muni went to speak to King Kamsa. That powerful sage of godly vision addressed the king as follows.
Purport, yeah.
Purport. The term Devdarshan can be understood in many ways, all of which are consistent with the context and purport of this narration. Deva means God, and Darshanaha means seeing, or an audience with a great personality. Thus, Deva Darshan, a name for Narad Muni, indicates that Narad has attained the perfection of seeing God, that getting Narada's audience is as good as getting God's, since Narad is a pure representative of the Lord, and also that Narada's audience is as good as that of the demigods, who are also known as Devas. That there are all these meanings of the term Devdarshanaha reveals something of the richness of the Srimad Bhagavatam's language. From the Puranas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has quoted 20 verses describing a joking conversation between Radha and Krishna that took place after Krishna had killed the demon Arista. This conversation, so kindly quoted by the Acharya, describing the origin of Radha Kund and Shyam Kund, Radha's and Krishna's wedding ponds. The verses are as follows. The innocent young gopi said, "Ah, Krishna, don't touch us now, O killer of a world. Alas, even though Arista was a terrible demon, still he was a male cow. So you will have to undergo atonement, just as Lord Indra did after killing Dhritarashtra. But how can you purify yourself without going to the trouble of visiting every single holy place in the three worlds?" Krishna replied, "Why should I have to wander throughout the entire universe? I will at once bring all the countless pilgrimage places here and take my bath in them. Just watch." With this, Lord Mukunda struck his heel on the ground. Then he said, "This is the water of the Bhogavati river coming from the Patal region. And now, O holy places, all of you please come here." When the Supreme Lord had spoken these words, all the holy places went there and appeared before him. Krishna then addressed the gopis as follows: "See all the holy places." But the gopis replied, "We don't see them as you describe." Then those west of the holy places, joining their palms in supplication, spoke up, "I am the salt ocean, I am the ocean of milk, I am the Amar Dirghika, I am the river Shona, I am the Sindhu, I am the Tamraparni, I am the holy place Pushkar, I am the river Saraswati, and we are the Godavari, Yamuna, and Riva rivers and the confluence of rivers at Prayag. Just see our waters." After purifying himself by bathing, Lord Hari became quite arrogant and said, "I have produced a pond containing all the various holy places, whereas you gopis must never have executed any religious duties on this earth for the pleasure of Lord Brahma." Then Srimati Radharani addressed her girlfriends as follows: "I must create an even more beautiful pond, so go to work." Having heard these words, the gopis saw that Aristasaur's hooves had dug a shallow ditch just west of Sri Krishna's pond. At that nearby spot, all the gopis began digging up lumps of soft mud with their hands, and in this way, a divine pond manifested in the short span of an hour. Krishna was astonished to see the lake they produced. He said, "Go ahead, lotus-eyed one, you and your companions should fill this pond with water from mine." But Radha replied, "No, no, 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 this is impossible. Since the water of your pond is contaminated by your terrible sin of killing a cow, I will have my countless gopi companions bring the pure water of the Manas Ganga here in billions of pots. In this way, I will fill this lake with my own water and thus make its reon unequaled in the entire world. Lord Krishna then gestured to a heavenly personality who was an intimate associate of all the holy places. Suddenly, that person rose up out of Krishna's pond and bowed down to the daughter of Sri Vrishabhanu, Radharani. Then, with palms joined and tears pouring from his eyes, he began praying to her in devotion. O goddess, even Lord Brahma himself, the knower of all scriptures, cannot understand your glories, nor can Lord Shiva or Lakshmi. Only Krishna, the supreme goal of all human endeavor, can understand them. And thus he feels obliged to personally make sure that you can wash away your perspiration when you are fatigued. He is always anointing your lotus feet with nectarian, charu, and yavak, and decorating them with ankle veils. And he rejoices and feels most fortunate simply by satisfying the tips of the toes of your lotus feet. On his order, we have immediately come here to live in this most excellent pond, which he created by one stroke of his heel, but only if you now feel satisfied with us and bestow upon us your merciful glance will the tree of our desire bear fruit. Hearing this prayer spoken by a representative of the full assembly of holy places, Sri Radha was pleased and said, "So, kindly tell me your desire." They then told her plainly, "Our lives would be successful if we could come to your pond. That is the benediction we desire." Glancing at her beloved from the corners of her eyes, the daughter of Drashbhanu replied with a smile, "Please come." Her gopi companions all agreed with her decision and became immersed in the ocean of happiness. Indeed, the beauty of all creatures, both mobile and stationary, was enhanced. Thus, gaining the grace of Srimati Radharani, the holy rivers and lakes in Sri Krishna Kund forcibly broke through its boundary walls and swiftly filled Radha Kund with their waters. Lord Hari then said, "My dear Radha, may this pond of yours become even more world renowned than mine. I will always come here to bathe and to enjoy my water pastimes. Indeed, this lake is as dear to me as you are." Radha replied, "I will come to bathe in your ponds as well. Even though you may kill hundreds of Arista demons here, in the future, anyone who has intense devotion for this lake, which is on the spot where you chastise Aristasur, and who bathes or resides here, is sure to become very dear to me." That night, Lord Krishna initiated a last dance at Radha Kund, generating a torrent of the greatest mood of splendorous pleasure. Sri Krishna resembled a cloud and Srimati Radharani a brilliant flash of lightning filling the sky with abundant beauty. In this way, their divine glories permeated the expanses of the three worlds. As a final note, it should be mentioned that Narad Muni, being a great sage, understood that the killing of Arista more or less concluded the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Therefore, Narad, anxious to facilitate the transfer, transferal of Krishna's pastimes to Mathura, approached Kamsa and addressed him as follows.
Yes, because he knew Krishna's Vrindavan pastime is finished. Now he has to come to Mathura and he will speak to Kamsa and inspire Kamsa to bring Krishna to Mathura. That So yes, that's the end of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. But we will hear again a few times more about Krishna's pastimes, about the Vrajavasis. Further at the eclipse at Kurukshetra, and also in the 11th canto. Krishna will come to the back to the Vrajavasis. Okay, that's we can. This is text number 17. Okay, we can still read. Can I read the translation and the purport?
Hare Krishna. Narada told Kamsa, Yashoda's child was actually a daughter, and Krishna is the son of Devaki. Also, Rama is the son of Rohini. Out of fear, Vasudeva entrusted Krishna and Balarama to his friend Nanda Maharaja, and it is these two boys who have killed your man. Purport. Kamsa had been led to believe that Krishna was the son of Yashoda and that Devaki's eighth child has been a daughter. The identity of Devaki's eighth child was extremely important to Kamsa because a prophecy had foretold that her eighth child would kill him. Here Narada informs the king that the eighth child of Devaki was the formidable Krishna, thus implying that the prophecy should be taken very seriously. Having received this information, Kamsa obviously will now do everything in his power to kill Krishna and Balarama.
Yeah, so Kamsa, when he hears it, he thinks, Narada is my friend, that is giving me that valuable information, that there is immediately trust that Vishwanath Chakravarti. Why did he say to Kamsa, the famous eighth child of Devaki, a female, was actually the daughter of Yasoda? Krishna, commonly known as Nanda's son, was actually the son of Devaki. Balaram, thought to be Nanda's son, was actually the son of Rohini. If Krishna and Balaram are Vasudev's children, who brought them to Vraj? They were brought by Vasudeva, of course. He will put them in jail again. That Jiva Goswami. Though he is the son of Rohini, Balaram was actually in the womb of Devaki first. Narada explained this. Out of fear, Vasudeva entrusted the children to Nanda. Since he is afraid of you, you should not kill him. Nanda is Vasudeva's friend. They have very strong ties of affection, or they are friends and relatives. Why means that it is well known. Since you do not know about this, you are foolish. Narada spoke in this way to gain Kamsa's trust. They have killed your friends. He makes this statement to testify to the facts that he has just related. By indicating the two boys' great strength, he makes Kamsa constantly frightened of them. Now, can someone read text 18?
Upon hearing this, the master of the Bhojas became furious and lost control of his senses. He picked up a sharp sword to kill Vasudeva.
Okay. Kamsa took up his sword, Vishwanath says, but not in the presence of Vasudeva. Vasudeva was not there. His senses and mind became agitated. It means he lost all power of discrimination, Jiva Goswami said. And Sanatana Goswami, Prajapati suggests Kamsa had great power. As he was the best of enjoyers, having many desires, he had little intelligence. His senses and mind became agitated. This means he lost all power of discrimination. That's the anger makes overcome your intelligence. Text 19. Can someone read the translation and the purport?
But Narada restrained Kamsa by reminding him that it was the two sons of Vasudeva who would cause his death. Kamsa then had Vasudeva and his wife shackled in iron chains. Purport.
Purport, yeah.
Kamsa realized that there was no use in killing Vasudev, since it was Vasudev's sons, Krishna and Balaram, who were to kill him. According to the Acharyas, Narada also advised Kamsa that if he killed Vasudev, the two young boys might flee, and that it was therefore better not to kill him. Rather, Narada recommended Kamsa should bring Krishna and Balaram to Kamsa's capital city, Mathura. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that Narada did not act inimically towards the great devotees Vasudeva and Devaki when he revealed this information to Kamsa. In fact, as explained in the 11th canto, Vasudeva was grateful to Narada because he was arranging for Kamsa's death at Krishna's hands and further arranging for Krishna to come and live in Mathura where his loving father could associate with him.
Yeah, we've seen it many times. Something happens in our lives, and later we understand it's Krishna's mercy. Yes, that so the purport of Vishwanath was already told before. Shiva Goswami, nothing new. The last verse for today we will read. Jan Somma read text 19 and purport.
After Narad left, King Kamsa summoned Keshi and ordered him go kill Rama and Krishna. Purport. Before having Krishna and Balram brought to Mathura, Kamsa tried sending one more demon to Vrindavan.
Yeah. Kamsa ordered Keshi, go to Vraj and kill him. This statement also means you should attain them or merge into them. Yes. So next time we will start with text 21 on Monday, and then we will finish the chapter here from Kamsa's arrangement to Santa Cora to get Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. So, thank you. We have a few minutes left. Someone has a question or a comment you want to make?
I first I learned today that Naradji had actually another role, that he's the one who caused Krishna to come to Mathura. So he told, this whole situation about him telling Kansa was to bring Nanda or Krishna, tell Kansa was to Krishna to come here and start these other pastimes.
Yeah.
I didn't know this part.
Yeah, but it's also said that Narada knows his Trikalagya, he knows past, present, and future, and he knew what will happen, but he wanted to speed up it a bit, and because he was eager to see Krishna's pastimes in Mathura. That's true. Yeah. Good. Thank you very much. Wish you a good weekend and see you on Monday. Remember these nice pastimes this night, tomorrow, and Monday we continue. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj. Jai Prabhupada.